we can start.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Councillor Paul Ainsley. I am the chair of the General Government Licensing Committee. The clerk has confirmed that we have quorum. So I would like to now call meeting number 28 to order and welcome to our first meeting of 2022. And Happy New Year to everyone and their families. Today's meeting is being held with members of council and city staff participating by video conference. The public continue to participate electronically and can watch the meeting streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/Toronto City Council Live. These measures are necessary to comply with public health guidelines and prevent the spread of COVID. The clerk staff have connected all registered speakers to the meeting by audio. There actually are no registered speakers today. But if somebody in the meantime would like to register, they can be viewed online by visiting the General Government Licensing Committee's page at toronto.ca/council and clicking the speakers box for our meeting today. I'd ask for everyone's patience if we experience any delays or technical problems during the meeting. Members, the city clerk has provided all agenda materials on toronto.ca/council and on the clerk's meeting portal. Our clerk's IT staff are available for all of us remotely if you need any help with any of your devices. As part of each agenda item, I will ask members to raise their hand or unmute their microphone if they wish to question staff or speak. I will then create a speakers list and we'll call on members when it's their turn to speak. When voting on items or a motion, I ask members ensure they keep their video on and raise their hands to indicate their vote in the positive or negative. Members, I also want to remind you, you must still submit and approve your motions by email. Staff are available at gglc@toronto.ca to help with any motions. For our land acknowledgement, I would like to acknowledge that we are in different locations and meeting remotely today. The committee would like to acknowledge that the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge Toronto is covered by Treaty Number 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. At this point, I'll ask if there's any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Acts. Seeing none, thank you very much, members. Can I have a motion to confirm the minutes of our last meeting, which was held on November 30th, 2021? Deputy Mayor Holiday's moving adoption of the minutes for November 30th, 2021. All those in favor? Seeing none opposed, that is unanimous. Members, we will now review the agenda that we have before us for today. Our first item is GL 28.1, amendment to purchase order number 6044-203 with Concept Naval Experts Maritimes Incorporated for the provision of design and construction support services for the delivery of 2 electric ferries and associated shoreside infrastructure. Somebody like to move the recommendations before us? Anybody like to move the recommendations? Speaker Nunziata, all in favor of the recommendations? That carries. Number 2, amendment to purchase order number 604-7996 for the Western North York Community Center and Child Care Center in Ward 7. Anybody like to hold this? Somebody like to move the recommendations? Speaker Nunziata, thank you. All in favor? And that carries. GL 28.3, amendment to purchase order 605-2242 with Century Group Incorporated for the construction of the fleet maintenance garage at 1050 Ellesmere Road, which is in Ward 21. Anybody like to hold this or move the recommendations? I'll move the recommendations. All in favor? Carried. GL 28.4, amendment to blanket contract number 470-22430 with CompuCom Canada Incorporated for the supply, delivery, installation, and warranty of desktops, notebooks, tablets, and other related products and services. Somebody like to hold this? Councillor Holiday, did you want to hold it, or did you want to move the recommendations?
No, sir, I'll move the recommendation.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor Holiday. Deputy Mayor Holiday is moving the recommendations in number 4. All in favor? And that carries. Number 5 is amendment to the non-competitive blanket contract number 470-23822 with Star Security Incorporated. Would you like to move this? Councillor Mansis is moving the recommendations in number 5. All in favor? And that carries. Number 6, award of request for quotation document number 296314810 to Fully Managed Incorporated for the non-exclusive supply of ServiceNow cloud subscription services for various divisions. Councillor Filion, I believe you had a motion you wanted to move on this?
Yes, I'll hold that. Thank you.
All right, I'm holding, Councillor Filion is holding number 6. Number 7, non-competitive contract with Inland Liferafts and Marine Limited for the service of Liferafts. Somebody like to move the recommendations in this? Deputy Mayor Holiday, moving the recommendations. All in favor? And that carries. Number 8 is a non-competitive contract with MetalCraft Marine Limited to purchase a high-speed firefighting vessel for Toronto Fire Services. Anybody like to move the recommendations in number 8? Councillor Matlow is moving the recommendations in number 8. All in favor? And that carries. Number 9, non-competitive contracts for various playground equipment suppliers. Anybody like to hold this or move the recommendations? Deputy Mayor Holiday is moving the recommendations in number 9. All in favor? And that carries. Number 10, real estate application for approval to expropriate parts of 39 Old Mill Road, 2662 Bloor Street West, and 21 Old Mill Road. This is the stage 1. It's in Ward 3. And there's revised recommendations that came from the Executive Director of Corporate Real Estate Management. Would anybody like to hold this? And can I have somebody move the recommendations, please? Councillor Manses, all in favor, and that carries. Number 11 is the expropriation of 81 Bloor Street East and 40 to 42 Hayden Street for the Bloor-Yonge capacity improvement projects. This is a stage 2 in Ward 11. There's a confidential attachment with this as well. Someone like to hold it? Somebody like to move the recommendations? Speaker Nunziata is moving the recommendations. All in favor? Carried. Number 12 is the update on the Bridletowne Community Hub sale of 1355 Bridletowne Circle to the YMCA and next steps. It's in Ward 22. Somebody like to move the recommendations? Councillor Mantis? All in favor? And that carries. And we will go back to number 6. GL 28.6, which was the award of request for quotation document 296314810 to Fully Managed Incorporated for the non-exclusive supply of ServiceNow cloud subscription services for various divisions. Councillor Filion, you held that. Did you have questions of staff?
Yes, just a question of staff. How unusual is it for a vendor to kind of, for lack of a better term, renege on something they've agreed to?
Through the chair, this is actually quite a rare occurrence. Typically, the bidders will comply with the terms and conditions, or they will have been declared non-compliant for other reasons. This is quite unusual, where we've gotten to the point where we've basically awarded a contract and then they've turned around and said they're not going to pursue it.
Do we know approximately how much in business we've given Deloitte over, say, the last 5 years? I'm guessing it's in tens of thousands of dollars.
Through the chair, I don't have a specific number over the time, but I would, I could imagine that actually being in millions, because of they're doing various consulting work and also on rather large systems integration projects for various things like the Financial System Transformation Project and the Managed Security Service Project. Both were quite large programs. So I would say millions, but I don't have an exact number in front of me.
And the issue of whether or not they have a legal obligation, is that still under review?
Yes, the Chief Technology Officer and myself are in discussions with legal services about what we can do as a result of this particular situation.
And regardless of legal obligation or on top of legal obligation, does the city have the right to just say, well, if you're not going to honor your agreements, we don't want to do business with you anymore?
Through the chair, under the purchasing bylaw, there is the ability for myself to suspend a contractor for up to 6 months, or we can report to council to suspend for a longer period of time. We would have to explore that of whether we would want to consider that in this situation, and we'd have to, provide good rationale for that. And suspension is a pretty hefty thing that we want to look at. I think we want to look at other ways to address the situation before we might consider that.
Thank you. And would it be appropriate for you to report to the next committee meeting on your conclusions or further thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, we could provide an update report to committee on where we are after we've discussed with legal services.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Fillion. Deputy Mayor Holiday, questions of staff?
I didn't want to overstep because I think Speaker Nunziata had her hand up first. But
Sorry, I didn't see.
I'll take your direction.
Speaker Nunziata, sorry, I didn't see your hand. Did you want to go ahead? Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay, Councillor Holiday. But I just have one question. So they reneged because they want to renegotiate the terms of the agreement, correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay, so because they've reneged at the 11th hour, has there been any financial impact on the city? Because we were going to proceed with the contract, and is there any financial impact at all that that's impacted us?
Through the chair, I can start, and Lawrence may want to add on. The initial concern is that fact that we've now need a contract for additional money. So it's been a $5 million difference in the 5-year contract. So that's the initial thing. Lawrence, if there's anything else you'd like to add.
No, through the chair, yes. It just means that we go to the next lowest bid, councillor, and which means that there is a financial impact in terms of what was allocated. So the potential impact is spread. So now we obviously go to the lowest bid, which is a higher cost in terms of what we had gone to bid award committee to present.
Yeah, so their actions have cost the city financial impact on it. So as far as Councillor Fillion's motion, I think that would be grounds on taking any further action. Am I correct? I mean, I think legal is on the line. Corey?
Yes, I am here, and I can confirm that is something that we'll assess. My colleagues who will consider a litigation here, there are provisions in the process that enable the city to seek recovery of those additional costs. So that's something at this point we need to explore and understand fully the circumstances behind this before making any final determinations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Speaker Nunziata. Sorry about that. Deputy Mayor Holiday.
Thanks, Chair. I just wondered if Mr. Atta or the team could describe to the committee a little bit more about what the product or service is, or Mr. Pachalak. It just says ServiceNow Cloud Subscription Services. Is that software? Is it licenses? Is it a product plus consulting. Could you just tell us a bit more about what it is that we're buying here? And I know there's a purpose for the software, but just even the basics about the product.
Yes, through the chair, and thank you for the question, Deputy Mayor. So we're actually buying licenses, and ServiceNow is a product that allows us to do a number of things. One of it is to look at asset management for technology solutions. Another thing is to ensure that from an operational process in terms of ensuring that we can get requests in terms of our intake process with the divisions, and we can create an automated way of streamlining requests that are coming in and how we do our work from a technology. So it's a foundational product that's very important in helping the city standardize and helping us work with the divisions in assessing their business needs to align that with the technology. So it's purely for licenses. It's no services. It's no consultancy. It's purchasing licenses to use the product.
So are the vendors resellers of the product? Like there's another company that makes this product and then they sell the licenses. Is that what these vendors are doing? They're reselling them to the government?
Through the chair, that is correct. They're resellers and they pass through. So they go to ServiceNow, they purchase a bulk licenses, and then they resell it to the City of Toronto or to government.
And probably other people too, I guess.
That's correct, including the private sector.
So when we went out with the procurement document, what did we ask for? Did we say we would like, so many licenses this year and so many licenses the following year? Or did we do it by dollar volume? Like what is the structure of what we asked the vendor community to provide?
We would have gone to through the chair, we would have gone to the community and we would have asked for the ability to get into a contractual arrangement that allows the city to buy those licenses when and as needed. So it would essentially build a broad contract, and then we buy based on the needs that are needed and based on the budget allocation. That is how the deal would have been structured through the request for quotation procurement process.
But the number, the bids range from, just looking here, $44 to $94 million. You could trace that back to numbers of licenses, could you not?
That is correct. Through the chair, you would specify the amount of volumes we're thinking over the duration of the 5 years. You would specify that to the specific units, to the specification. So it would be very, very detailed about what we were looking in terms of the growth to buy over that 5 years and what sorts of licenses we would want to buy. So whether they were workflow licenses, for example. So it would have been very, very specific and clear, as well as the terms and conditions that the respondents would have to abide towards.
And in the simplest sense, these vendors buy bulk licenses from the company that makes the product. I guess they mark it up. It must be in, to make a profit, and then they sell to us. And would that explain the variation from 44 million to 94 million? Because that, if it's the same product, it's a pretty big range.
Through the chair, yes, each particular organization would decide what particular markup they want based on buying it essentially wholesale and deciding that when they sold it to the organizations, what their specific assessment and markups would be.
And so the lowest vendor, in the simplest terms in this report, the lowest vendor gave us a price. And then for whatever reason, the contract never happened. It didn't finalize. So we had to go to the next lowest vendor, but the product between the lowest vendor and the next lowest vendor is the same.
That is correct, through the chair.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Holliday. Other questions of staff on this item? Seeing none. Speakers, Councillor Filion, you had a motion you wanted to move?
Yes, and my apologies to clerks. I just said it to them, so I don't know if they're able to. I think Matthew's saying one minute.
Mayor, I could ask another question if we needed to some time.
Sure, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Holliday, and then Matthew can let us know when he has the motion ready.
saw a thumbs up from the clerk. I think it's a rather simple technical one. It was something it caught my eye in the report, but I didn't fully understand it. On page 3, it talked about on August 18th, pursuant to section 195.8.3A, subsection 3 of the municipal code, the bid award panel exercised the power of a standing committee to grant authority to award a contract. And I think this question is for Mr. Patchalock, just about how the mechanics of that works. If you could just explain to me how the bid award panel awarded a contract that I think otherwise would have been under delegated authority for this committee.
Through the chair, sure. Under the purchasing bylaw, the bid award panel is able to have extended authority in certain circumstances. So typically it's summer recess when council breaks from July until September. They're able to award contracts that are over $20 million in value, but still need to be, to the lowest bidder or the highest scoring proponent and meet all the other conditions as typical they would have to do. Or it could be the election recess, for example, that will be coming up later this year. This is to ensure that contracts can still be awarded while there's a break. Every year I report annually on any use of that. So there was actually a report in September, October, can't remember off the top of my head, that listed all of the ones that we did during the summer, and that included the one for the ServiceNow.
Okay, so it would not have ever come to the committee, but for the circumstance where there was a change in company that it's being awarded to, it would have just normally shown up on a cyclical report that says, hey, committee, by the way, during this recess, we awarded this contract. And if we had questions, we would ask it at that point.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Matthew, did that give you enough time to? All right. Councillor Filion, you have a motion that you would like to move on this item?
Yes, thank you. If Matthew can just put it up on the screen. Very simple motion that the committee asks the Chief Procurement Officer and the Chief Technology Officer to report to the next meeting in March 22nd, 22 on the approach being taken to address the situation with Deloitte. So it's kind of a wide parameter here on what staff might recommend. I was shocked that such a large company would, even if they made a mistake, not just go, well, we made a mistake, we agreed to something. This is a company that's had, tens of millions of dollars in business from the city. And I just was kind of astonished that they would behave like this. And I think subject to professional advice, obviously, from our staff, but I think we need to send a clear message to Deloitte and to anyone else who might want to behave this way, that there are consequences for that. So that's it. Motion for report back.
Yeah, my apologies. I'm having trouble. I need more coffee this morning. Did you have a question?
Yeah, just a question to Councillor Filion. So in your motion, if you can just put it on the screen again, Matthew. You're requesting and Chief, should you not include legal as well as part of your motion?
Well, I guess the Chief Procurement Officer could answer that. This staff did assist with this motion. I think there are, as Mr. Patchalock said in response to my questions, there's potential legal action. There's also just potential, we're not going to do business with you for a period of time. action. And I think this leaves it open whether you would do one or the other, or both, or neither, I guess.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Other questions of the mover? Seeing none. So we have a motion before us from Councillor Filion. All in favor? Item as amended. All in favor? That passes. And I believe that was our last item of business, Matthew. And my recollection is there are no bills to pass this morning.
That is correct. And you've completed your last item as well.
So I believe at 9:58 a.m. we are done for the day, at least done for the morning. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody's input and diligence as always on the General Government Licensing Committee agenda and your work. And I hope everybody has a great day, and all the staff. Thank you again for all of their hard work. Hope everybody has a happy new year and your families. And motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much, everybody.